Uh, this one you can remove. This. Yes. Both you can remove. But. Yes. I will chant the prayer verses. You can repeat after me. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Invoking the grace of the Lord Dakshinamurti, all the devatas of this Gurukulam, presiding over the Gurukulam, invoking the blessings of Pujya Swamiji and all the teachers, all the acharyas of the Parampara, we start our study on this small text called Shiva Pratah Smaranam Cl. In that book, in the booklet, it might have given Atha. Atha is not a part of the name. Shiva Pratah Smaranam Cl. This is the name of the stotra, name of the text. This word has got 4 parts. Shiva Pratah Smarana Stotram. So first we will understand the title. Like this, title clearance. In property, title clearance. So first let us have title clearance. First I will pick up the word Stotram. Stotram is there in your book or not? There, no? Stotram. Okay. Stotram means Stuyate Anena iti Stotram. I will little bit Sanskrit I will give you. Don't be afraid of it. I will translate anything I tell in Sanskrit. What it means, Tuyate Anena iti Stotram. A collection of verses by which someone is praised is called Stotram. A collection of verses by which some devata, some higher entity is praised, glorified, is called Stotram. And you might have heard Dakshinamurti Stotra is there, Sharada Stotra is there. There are so many stotras. We have a very vast body of this stotra literature. And there are various types of stotras. One variety which we are going to study is Pratah Smaranam Stotras. The stotras, the collections of verses, Smarana, the remembrance, the collection of stotras which are helping us to remember some devata in the morning. That is called Pratah Smaranam Stotram. Collection of verses helping us to remember certain devatas, they are called Pratah Smaranam Stotras. Is one variety. We have other variety, Kshamaparada, Kshamapana Stotras. Shiva Aparada Kshama Stotram, Devi Aparada Kshama Stotram. So we have another variety. Then we have some stotras which are Vedanta stotras, where the Vedanta Tattvam is given. Like Dakshinamurti Stotra can be called Vedanta Stotra. Sadhana Panchakam etc. Vedanta Stotra. And this Stotra is a devotional activity. Chanting the Stotra is a devotional activity. So what is the place of Stotra in our sadhana, you would like to understand. What is Stotra? It is an act of devotion, a devotional activity. And this word devotion you must have heard. In Sanskrit it is called bhakti. Have you heard the word bhakti? You may say bhakti. It is bhakti. And regarding bhakti, there are so many misconceptions. So I will do some site clearance, Site clearance means what? When you start the building, first you have to clear the site. So similarly, because so much grass, etc., unnecessary plants are there. So similarly, regarding bhakti, people have so many misconceptions. What are the misconceptions? One misconception is bhakti is an independent path, one of the many paths for moksha. This is one. There are so many paths. Bhakti is one of the paths for moksha, for freedom. And further they say, among all the paths, bhakti is the easiest path. You have heard this? Bhakti is the easiest path. And in Kali Yuga, it is the only path. See how they develop. First, one of the paths, easiest path, and the only path available in Kali Yuga for moksha is bhakti. This is one misconception. How it is a misconception, we will see later. Second is, bhakti is only for emotional people. And generally women are considered to be emotional, therefore bhakti is meant for emotional ladies. As if gents are not emotional. In fact, I have seen gents more emotional in some area. They cannot handle certain situations the way women handle. Anyway, I don't want to go into that now. Sometimes we'll go perhaps if occasion comes. So, bhakti is only for emotional people. Bhakti is not suitable for intellectual people. Bhakti has no place in Vedanta. Vedanta is anti-bhakti. Means you are Vedanti means you will not have bhakti. And if you are intelligent, highly educated, you will not have bhakti. In fact, you will feel shy to admit if you are doing some devotional activity, because you are educated, Hide, you may hide even if you have some love for some devotional activity. Because thinking is, I am educated person, I am supposed to be intellectual, and how can I have devotion? Misconception. So let us see how those misconceptions are misconceptions. First of all, the first misconception we saw that bhakti is one of the paths, one of the independent paths, easiest path, the only path for moksha. For that, let us understand what is the right vision of our Shastra regarding moksha. Let us be clear. Once we are clear about the truth, then falsehood will be understood as falsehood. To understand false as false, you have to understand the truth. And the vision of Shastra, the vision is moksha means freedom from bondage. And to understand moksha well, you need to understand what is bondage. Because moksha is a relative term. You cannot use the word moksha without specifying from what. Suppose you, Swamiji, now I am free. Free from what? Some context will be there. Free from duty, the office duty, free from family duty, free from some particular issue you had. So, freedom is always a relative term. It is always from the standpoint of something, with reference to something. And so, here when we say moksha, which means freedom, it has to be from some bondage. What is bondage? People have different ideas. People think having marriage life is bondage. Married life, they call it samsara. Marriage life is not samsara. Then Bhagavan Sri Krishna will be Mahasamsari. Why? He had 16,000 wives. You can't handle one wife, he had 16,000. And many of our rishis, Vasishtha Rishi, who is a great Mukta Purusha, why? All our gods are married. And therefore, marriage life is samsara. That is not correct. Samsara means bondage. So, marriage life is bondage. That is not correct. One more reason for that is, if marriage life is samsara, then all bachelors should be what? Free? Isn't it? If marriage life is samsara, all bachelors should be free. Or those who have lost their spouse must be free. But they are not. So, marriage life is not a samsara. Activities themselves are not samsara. What is samsara? Bondage. Bondage is my dependence upon the world to be happy, peaceful and secure. That is bondage. My happiness is dependent upon the world, objects, people, situation. That is bondage. See, that is why when you are smiling and all, people will ask, what happened? Enaitu in Kannada, Enaitu. What happened? Means what? Something must have happened to bring smile on your face. That shows what? We are dependent upon something, someone, some situation to be happy. Our happiness is controlled by people around us. My son is okay, I am okay. My son listens to me, I am happy. He doesn't listen to me, I am unhappy. My wife or my husband, he or she is cooperating with me, listens to me, I am happy. Not doesn't listen to me, which is the case most of the time. So what? I am unhappy. Or share market is going up, I am happy. And Adani thing happened, then went down. I had invested in that only, went down, unhappy. So this dependence upon the world to be happy is bondage. Dependence upon being peaceful, samsaraha, bondage. Now I am shantaha. Why? My spouse has gone out, or or my neighbor has gone out. He is making a lot of noise. He has gone out. Therefore, I am shantaha. Similarly, security, dependence. This dependence upon the world to be happy, peaceful and secure, that is bondage. If this you understand, then you will not blame anybody for your bondage. Your bondage is your dependence. It has nothing to do with the external world. Your dependence is your bondage. Another way of looking at the bondage is sense of limitation. Means always feeling wanting person. I am limited. I have this much, but I don't have this much. Swamiji, money wise okay, but family wise problem. Family wise, money wise okay, but health wise always problem. So something or the other you always miss in your life. You see yourself as an incomplete person. In Tamil there is a word korai, korai. Korai, no? Kurai. Kurai. I like this word. I think some Rajgopalacharya or somebody that, so this is a nice word, kurai. So that is there, that always heart, is not happy with what is. Ye dil mange more. So always want something more, something more. What is there is not enough. What is there is not completely suitable. This type of frame of mind, the condition of the mind, which is centered on me, which is the notion centered on me, I am limited. People say this, that Swamiji, it looks like I have got everything, but still I am missing something in my life. They call it middle age crisis. Middle age crisis is not only in middle age, it continues afterwards also. Old age also continues. So middle age crisis sometimes is in this form that Swamiji, I have got spouse, I have got children, I have got job, money, etc. But still I don't feel satisfied. That sense of being dissatisfied with oneself and thereby with the world is bondage. And this will be expressed in the form of struggle to become somebody. You want to become somebody. You are not happy being what you are. I want to become a first, graduate, then I want to become married, then I want to become a father, then I want to become a grandfather, I want to become a chairman, I want to become international, the corporate, international head, whatever. Always there is craving to become somebody other than what I find myself to be now. That is bondage. In other words, feeling limited all the time in every situation, that is bondage. And that can go only when you discover yourself to be limitless. There is no other way. I am feeling limited is the bondage. So what can be the solution? My discovery of myself being limitless. And you cannot become limitless by adding some limited thing to yourself. If you are limited and whatever you add, that what you add is limited, and limited plus limited will always be limited. And therefore, any achievement in the world cannot make you limitless. And the result of any action you do will always be limited. Therefore, no action or the result of action can make you limitless. And without finding yourself to be limitless, you cannot be free from bondage. So, to be free from bondage, I have to be free from limitation, and nothing can make me free from limitation. No action, no result of action can make me free from limitation. And therefore, what is the way out? And here Shastra says that there is one possibility, and that possibility Shastra will reveal it as a fact, and that is, I am really limitless, but I do not know what really I am, and I have identified with what I am not, and therefore I am considering myself to be limited. So, my sense of limitation is based on ignorance and ignorance born notion. My sense of limitation is based on my ignorance about myself and the notions born of that ignorance. And since ignorance is the cause for the problem, then knowledge alone is the solution. When darkness is the cause for the problem, light is the solution. And therefore, freedom from bondage, which is in the form of sense of limitation, is by knowledge of my true nature, which is limitless. So, knowledge is the means for freedom. And how can I get the knowledge? Any knowledge is possible by using the means of knowledge. If I want to see this booklet, this pamphlet, then I have to use appropriate means of knowledge, namely the eyes. Similarly, for the self-knowledge, I have to use the appropriate means of knowledge. There are various means of knowledge. One is called pratyaksha, perception, with the help of which we know so many things, but this perception will not help me. Why? Perception is designed for knowing something outside, which are there in front of the organs, whereas I, the self, am behind the sense organs, and therefore I, the self, cannot be objectified, known by the sense organs. So, perception will not work, and if perception does not work, then inference will not work. We know certain things through inference, like there is fire because there is smoke. So, seeing the smoke, you infer fire. So, you get the knowledge of fire by inference. But since Atma is not available in any manner by perception, then perception based inference also will not work here. And moreover, inference is used for something which is away from me, whereas it is about me. Therefore, inference also is not useful, and inference like things we have got arthapatti etc., that also will not work. Only pramanam available for the self-knowledge is Shastra Pramanam, Vedanta Pramanam. Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam. In Vedanta Sara, the first opening statement is that Vedanto Nama Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta means Upanishad, which is Pramanam. Pramanam is means of knowledge. So, how to get self-knowledge? I can get self-knowledge with the help of Vedanta, otherwise called Upanishad. So, Swamiji, how will I do it? Shall I go and pick up the book from library or bookstore and order from Amazon and start reading? Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. One lady from UK, she came to India and she wanted to study all Vedas. So, she ordered perhaps, or she bought Rigveda. Nothing you can understand. Similarly, if you study the Upanishad by yourself, you will not get anything. You will not get self-knowledge. You know why? I will give simple example. There are 10 popular Upanishads. Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandukya, Tittirihi, Eitariyam, Cha Chandogyam, Brihadaranyakam, Tatha. These are the 10 Upanishads. Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Taitariya, Eitariya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. These 10 Upanishads are there. So, first Upanishad is Ishavasya Upanishad. And so you think that let me pick up the first Upanishad. And you know, first Upanishad, Ishavasya, it starts with the Shanti Patha. What is the Shanti Patha? Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. And you know what is the meaning of that if you read the translation? That is whole, Purnamadaha, this is whole. From the whole comes the whole. And when you remove the whole from the whole, what remains is the whole. We will have HOLE only in our head. How will you understand by yourself? Therefore, this Upanishad is to be studied from a traditional teacher. Upanishad itself says, Tad Vigdanartham Gurumevabhi Gachet. To know this reality, one should go to the teacher. Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also he says, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. Some people have problem with this. Pujya Swamiji, when I say Pujya Swamiji, I mean Swami Dayanandji, who is the founder of this place. He says some people have authority problem, authority issue or authority problem. What is authority problem? When they were small, they were overpowered, overwhelmed or over-disciplined, over-punished by uncle, father, or sometimes in village even neighbor. In village, this my son, your son is not there. All elderly people have right to scold any child. Not that my child only, any child. Nowadays it's changing. So some authority figure is there. And in childhood you were so much, tortured, at least you felt tortured, and because of which you had some rebellious feeling. I don't want to study from all elderly people. They are too much. And therefore what happens? You do not like to go and study from someone. You don't like to surrender to someone. You don't like to take somebody's help, especially learning. School you could not avoid, therefore you had to go. But there was no such formal relationship of Guru Shishya. Just they were teaching, we learned, that's all. But here it is more than that. So some people do not like to go to the teacher. And that is why they want to study by themselves. And sometimes they think that we are PhD, postdoctoral study I have done. So what is this? I can study Vedanta by myself. It doesn't happen. Those who have tried, they have failed. Sometimes they don't admit that they have failed, but they don't get success. Because the very nature of study is such. Pujya Swamiji very nicely says, he says to understand the first mantra of the text, you have to have the vision of the entire text. And you can get the vision of entire text when you study one by one. If you study one by one, then you have the idea of the entire text. And when you get the vision of entire text, then only you can explain the first mantra. So catch 22 is there. Mutual dependence is there. And therefore we require someone who is teaching me the first mantra while having the vision of the entire text. And therefore, learning the scriptures, Vedanta from the teacher is the means for getting self-knowledge. And this is called Shravanam. And if doubts are there after Shravanam, they are resolved by Mananam. And if some habitual errors are there, they are resolved by sadhana called Nididhyasanam, contemplation. So Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam are the means for getting effective self-knowledge. What do I mean by effective self-knowledge? Self-knowledge which makes the person free from bondage. Self-knowledge which gives the result it is supposed to give. Alright. So, moksha is by jnanam, jnanam is by shravana, manana, nididhyasanam. And regarding moksha, we do not have any options. That one can get by jnanam, another person can get by bhakti, somebody can get by upasana, somebody can get by karma. There is no such thing. So moksha is by jnanam, jnanam is by shravana, manana, nididhyasanam. And to do shravana, manana, nididhyasanam, one requires some preparedness. And that preparedness is by karma yoga and upasana yoga. Karma yoga means doing the karma with the attitude of worshipping the Lord. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. So, offering all my actions, all my duties as worship of the Lord, that is called one part of karma yoga, and receiving the result with the attitude of prasada. This is karma yoga. And this karma yoga gives me chitta shuddhi, purity of the mind, reduction of papam, reduction of ragadveshas. And another sadhana for preparation is upasana. Upasana means meditation on Ishvara, the Lord. That also prepares me in terms of giving me concentration of the mind. So karma yoga gives me purity of the mind and meditation gives me the concentration of the mind. And these two things, along with sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, viveka, vairagya, samadhi, mumukshutvam, will make me fit to do effective Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, which will give me Jnanam, which will give me moksha. So, vision of Shruti about moksha is this. What is the moksha program? Moksha program is this. Prepare yourself by Karma Yoga and Upasana. Receive Jnanam by Jnana Yoga consisting of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, and by Jnanam you become free. This is the vision of moksha given by Shastra. Prepare by Karma Yoga Upasana, receive knowledge by Jnana Yoga consisting of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, and by this Jnanam be free. Prepare, know, be free. This is the vision of Shastra regarding moksha. How I can be free? This is how I can be free. Now you will have this question, Swamiji, in this whole scheme of things, bhakti to kuch aaya hi nahi. Bhakti did not come at all. Alright. Now I will explain to you where is the place, what is the place of bhakti. The word bhakti is interpreted in two ways. Bhakti as attitude and bhakti in terms of certain activities. When bhakti we are defining as attitude or some mental disposition, then bhakti means highest love for the Lord. Satu asmin parama prema swarupa. There is one text called Narada Bhakti Sutra, where Narada has explained the nature of bhakti, and in the beginning itself he has explained what is bhakti hi. Sa bhakti hi tu asmin parameshware parama prema swarupa. The bhakti is in the form of highest love for the Lord. Highest love means what? Considering the Lord to be the ultimate goal, I value, I love the Lord more than anything else. This is called highest love. Another way of understanding highest love is, my love for the Lord is highest when I am not ready to let go of this goal of Ishvara, goal in the form of Ishvara for the sake of anything. I am not ready to give up the goal of Ishvara for the sake of anything. And for the Lord, I am ready to give up everything. Then my love for the Lord is highest. When you say this one is dearest, what is the meaning of somebody or something being dearest? For that entity, I can give up anything, but I cannot give up that entity for anything. Then my love for that entity is highest. So, highest love for the Lord is called bhakti. And how do we get some love for the Lord? I want to love, but I don't have love for Ishvara. Some people have this. You get love for the Lord when more and more you see how you are blessed by the Lord in so many ways. Keep seeing that this is given to me, this is given to me, I have not created. See, your body you have not created, it is given to you. Your faculty of thinking, given to you. Even you think you have invented something, but the possibility of inventing, given to you. So, everything you have in your life is given to you. Keep seeing this. Everything is given to me, given to me, given to me. And when everything is given, there must be some giver. That giver is called the Lord. So when you have this attitude of seeing everything is given to you, more and more you see, then you will have devotion. And another way of getting devotion is be in the company of devotees. It gets rubbed off on you. You know, you have seen that when you move with this all people with money, that people with money mind, the money minded people, when you move with, you also start calculating everything in terms of money. When you see something, immediately what thought comes to your mind? How much it will cost you? So you always think of everything in terms of money, because you have moved with such people. Company influences you the most. Therefore they say, in English there is a saying, a person is known by the company he keeps. Why? Because company influences the person. So devotees company will help you to get devotion. And also doing certain devotional activities even when devotion is not there. In the West they call it fake it and make it. No. Even though you don't have devotion, but you act like a devotee acts, then slowly it happens. It is not that you are fooling yourself, because you have intention to have devotion. If you don't have intention to have devotion and if you behave like a devotee, it is hypocrisy. People say, Swamiji, fake it, make it, I don't like it. It is, I am not convinced and all this. Because they have not understood the spirit. When I want to make it, I want to really become a devotee, then I behave as if I am devotee, then it happens, That is how, based on this principle alone, our classical Indian marriage worked. It is not that these two people knew each other, they were having dating with each other for some time and they got married. That was not our culture. They were brought together by family or by the Lord. And he is my husband, she is my wife, and then slowly they develop that. That is what Indian marriages were, and they are supposed to be more successful than the Western marriages. Our divorce rate was very low, almost nil. Anyway, what I want to say that by devotional activities also you can develop this devotion. Alright. So devotion means love for the Lord. In fact, if we define devotion in general, Pujeshu Anuragaha Bhaktihi. One more definition, a general definition. Love for the respectable ones, worshipable ones, that is called Bhaktihi. Therefore you can say Matru Bhaktihi, devotion for mother, Pitru Bhaktihi, devotion for father, Guru Bhaktihi, Desha Bhaktihi. So love for anything what you respect is called Bhaktihi. Sadara Pritihi Bhaktihi. Love with respect is called Bhaktihi. And this is one definition. What is the second definition of Bhaktihi? Bhaktihi means Bhajyate Bhagavadakarantahkarana Vrittihi Kriyate Anaya iti Bhaktihi. Don't bother about Sanskrit. Bhakti is that activity which helps me to make my mind God-centered, Ishvara-centered, related to Ishvara. Any activity which makes me connected to Ishvara, that activity is also called Bhakti. Bhajyate Bhagavadakarantahkarana Vrittihi Kriyate Anaya iti Bhaktihi. Like if I sing some stotra, then it helps me to connect it to Ishvara mentally, then that activity is also called Bhakti. So the activity which invokes devotion in me, which strengthens the devotion in me, that activity is also called bhakti. And since it is activity, sometimes they use the word bhakti yoga. For love, they use the word love for the Lord, they use the word bhakti, and to distinguish a bit, they use the word bhakti yoga. But you can call it bhakti as well. And these activities which are also called bhakti, they are of three types: kayika, vachika, manasa. Kaya vangmana karyamuttanam uttamam pujanam japas chintanam kramat. In Upadesha Saram it comes. So, there are three types of activities which invoke a devotee in me, strengthen a devotee in me, and they are kayika. Kayika means doing puja, doing some seva in the temple, preparing the material for the worship of the Lord, where your physical body is involved. So, devotional activities which are helping you to invoke a devotee in you and where your physical body is involved, that is called kayika bhakti. Second is vachika bhakti. Vachika means oral, like chanting the stotras, doing the Rama Nama Sankirtanam or Nama Sankirtanam, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are going to do on Shivratri day, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. 3 hours we are going to do. That is what? Vachika Bhakti, where your organ of speech is involved. And the third is Manasa Bhakti. Manasa Bhakti means meditation on Ishvara. You visualize some form of the Lord and focus your mind and keep entertaining the thought of that Ishvara. That Upasanam is also called Bhakti, it is called Manasa Bhakti. So the Bhakti as some activities is of 3 types: Kayika, Vachika, Manasa. And this, in this second definition of Bhakti, Bhakti as the activities invoking devotee in you, there is a very beautiful shloka in Bhagavata which talks about Navadha Bhakti. You must have heard Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Pada Sevanam Vandanam Archanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam. This is a beautiful shloka which talks about Navadha Bhakti, 9-fold devotions. And you know who says this, who utters this shloka? This is by Prahlada. Have you heard the name Prahlada? Prahlada, a great devotee. There are 12 devotees they talk about, one of them is Prahlada. Very young boy he was at that time. And this context of this shloka is very beautiful. Prahlada was born in a Rakshasa family, Asuras, the demons family. His father's name was Hiranyakashipu. He was enemy of Vishnu. Why? Because his brother was killed by Vishnu. Hiranyaksha was killed. And so he wanted to kill Vishnu. He was so much against this Vishnu. And his son was a devotee of Vishnu. What a thing, you know. Like sometimes father is atheist and son is devotee. It is quite, many places it happens. Other way around it's more common. Father is devotee, son is atheist. That is now more common we find. So here, son was devotee. And Hiranyakashipu initially thought he is a child, etc. Therefore, he thought once he goes to the school, and I will organize those type of teachers who will teach my son only materialism. So he appointed the two sons of Shukracharya as the teachers, and after some time he asked, he says, father is asking the son Prahlada, Prahlada, you tell me what you have learned the best. You tell me what you have studied and what you have studied very well. Swadhitam, what you have studied very well, tell me. At that time he chanted this sloka. Shravanam kirtanam vishnoho smaranam padasevanam vandanam archanam dasyam sakhyamatma nivedanam. So, ninefold bhakti, 9 ways of connecting to Ishvara. One simple definition of bhakti we can have is this: bhakti is relating to Ishvara, being connected to Ishvara. Being connected to Ishvara or the activity by which you are connected to Ishvara, both are called bhakti. And these are the 9 ways given in Bhagavata. It comes the 7th skanda, 5th adhyaya, 23rd shloka, 7-5-23. Those who are interested in seeing more details can go and see. And here 9 ways are given. First one is what? Shravanam. Shravanam Vishnoho. Listening to the glories of Vishnu. They say Bhagavan enters into your heart through the ears. Your ears are the gateways to enter for Bhagavan. And Bhagavan enters through you, enters through your ears. How? Shravanam. Keep listening to the glories, the exploits of Bhagavan, all leelas of Bhagavan. Then Bhagavan will enter into your heart, means Bhagavan will remain in your mind. Enters into your heart means what? Bhagavan remains in your mind. You appreciate the presence of Ishvara. You feel you are never away from Ishvara. That is by Shravanam. That is why among the bhaktas, listening, Bhagavatam, Ramayanam, Shiva Puranam, all the Puranams you listen, then slowly you will have devotion. You will feel connected to the Lord. But it should be listened with proper attitude. Your attitude should not be that, I will remember the story, so when somebody asks me, tell me a story, so I will tell. It should not be for that purpose. Purpose should be devotion. Then Shravanam can be a nice way of getting connected to Ishvara. Second is Kirtanam, singing the glory, chanting the stotra. That is where stotra comes into the picture. Now we can say, what is the place of stotra? It is Kirtanam, one type of bhakti. In the threefold division, Kaika, Vachika, Manasa, Vachika Bhakti hi is stotra chanting. So stotra has a place in Vachika. And Kirtanam, singing the glory. You can do Nama Sankirtanam or you chant the stotras. Smaranam, remembrance. Remembrance the names of the Lord. Remembrance of the activities, the blessings of the Lord. Keep remembering. Afterwards it will become so natural. See, when somebody is having some intense love for someone, then does that person require special time to remember that person? I will remember you between 3 and 4. Is it so? No. You don't have special time for that. In fact, you have to work for not remembering. You have to make efforts for not remembering that person. Whole day, whatever you see, you remember that. Oh, this yellow color, he likes yellow color. Oh, this item, oh, he likes it. Oh, this, it doesn't suit him. So, whatever you see, you connect with that person. So, similarly, Smaranam, initially it will be deliberate and after it becomes effortless. They say the story that one day Gopi was doing meditation, yoga abhyasa. Somebody asked that, why are you doing yoga abhyasa? You are supposed to be a very accomplished devotee. Even Narada refers to Gopi as the role model for bhakti. Then she says, I am trying to forget Krishna because I am not able to do any of my household activities properly. When I am trying to make payasam, then I put salt, that type of situation is happening. So, Smaranam becomes so effortless that they have to make efforts not to remember. That is the height of Smaranam. But initially, we make deliberate efforts. Then, Pada Sevanam. Pada Sevanam is serving the feet. It can be taken in a simple manner, serving the feet of the Lord, washing the feet, sipping the water, etc. is called Pada Sevanam. Or Padosya Vishwa Bhutani, Prithvi Padbhyam Jayata. So, the whole world can be considered to be the feet of the Lord, and serving the world also is Pada Sevanam. And Vandanam, salutation. Whenever we get a chance, Namaskara to the Lord, Namaskara to the Lord. Even seeing Bhagavan in everybody, we do Namaskara. That also is one of the bhaktis. That is, our culture is Namaste culture, not hello, hi culture. Hi, that's not our culture. Namaste. No. Namaste is a very good representative of our culture. If you want to represent our culture, this is the best way of doing. One of the ways, very nice way of representing our culture. Means, we are seeing the presence of Lord in everybody. Namaste. Vandanam. Then Archanam, worshipping the Lord. Panchopachara, Shodashopachara. Upachara means steps. 5-stepped puja. Gandha, Pushpa, Dhupa, Deepa, Naivedyam is called Panchopachara. Shodopachara, little more Abhisheka, etc. are there. This Avahanam, etc. So, 16 steps, 64 steps. So, we have got very brief puja, elaborate puja. That also is one form of bhakti. And Dasyam, serving. Sweeping the floor of the temple, cleaning the vessels of the puja room. Not that you give it to your servant, you yourself do it. Dasyam. Sakhyam. Sakhyam means having love and trust for Ishvara. Don't become God-fearing person, appreciate yourself to be God-loving person. Have friendliness with the Lord. That is one of the best way of relating to Ishvara. Relate to Ishvara as your friend. And finally, Atmanivedanam. Atmanivedanam means surrendering one body and everything related to the body to Ishvara. That Atmanivedanam is represented by our Sashtanga Namaskara or Panchanga Namaskara at the end of the puja. So, these are the 9 steps: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Bandhanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. And these are the ways we relate to Ishvara, get connected to Ishvara. And Stotram is either it can become Kirtanam or it can become Smaranam. So is a Stotra or chanting of the Stotra is Kirtana Rupa Bhakti or Smarana Rupa Bhakti. It can be Vachika Bhakti or Manasa Bhakti. More we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.